This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Well, we're getting a signal of 1 to go, and that means we're headed into turn 4, and it's salvaged by Koziski Auto Parts. You're looking for quality used parts to get your car or truck back on the road? Give an experienced salesperson a call today at Koziski Auto Parts, 731-4592. You can also stop by their store at 50th and I Street. Pay yourself some respectable prices, not bloated auto parts or manufacturer prices. Koziski Auto Parts, 731-4592 is the phone number, 402-731-4592. Stop by at 50th and I Street in person, and you can see our lovely little Andrew Koziski working hard every single day.
8 to 5:30, bud, not 2 to 3.
Oh, but he works so hard that 1 hour,
man.
though.
Yeah, I do 8 hours worth of work in that 1 hour,
Well,
yeah.
We're midway through the season, through the Race to the Chase season. We're 13 races in. 14 is going to be here in a little bit. And after race 26, we're going to be into the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. And it's time to review how some of these guys are doing halfway through the season. There's drivers at the top of the list that, frankly, didn't expect to be there, and there's drivers down at the bottom of the list that I didn't expect to be there either. Andrew, talk a little bit about some of these guys, and let's go break them down.
First off, I'm going to just say the top 12 from 12th to 1st, because those are the guys sitting in the chase right now. Carl Edwards, 12th. Keselowski is 11th. Clint Boyer, 10th. Kyle Busch, 9th. Tony Stewart, 8th. Kevin Harvick, 7th. Martin Truex Jr., 6th. Jimmy Johnson, 5th. Denny Hamlin, 4th. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 3rd. Kenseth is 2nd, 1 point by his teammate and leader, Greg Biffle. Right now, some of the names, Martin Truex Jr., where did he come from this season? Dale Earnhardt Jr. These guys were guys that weren't even close last year. You got guys, Jimmy Johnson's won 2 races, 5th in points, just barely over Martin Truex Jr. And the Roush team has not been very, we're out there kicking everybody's butt this season, but they're sitting at 1-2, very consistent. There's guys down here, and I'm going to throw Jeff Gordon out there in 21st place right now. He's not out of the chase. He's not even close right now. I would not be shocked at all to see Jeff Gordon come back in the chase and run in the top 5 and give who I think is going to win, Jimmy Johnson, a run for his money there at the end of the season. But it's so different this year with the way they're doing the chase and everything. It's really, really going to be a surprise who's going to finish here. And halfway through the season, we're close, but you know what? There still could be anybody pop in there, I think.
And it's important to explain how the new point system is working. Not necessarily a new point system, but it's something they installed last year before the 2011 season. The top 10 are in on points. That's automatic. So the top 10 drivers are in on points. Positions 11th and 12th depend on who has won the most races between 11th and 20th. So if you're sitting in 18th place, but you've won 4 races, you're going to be jumped up and you're going to be now sitting in 11th place when the chase starts.
I actually don't like that.
Well, that's how Brad Keselowski got in last year. They're doing this whole system based off of wins. They want to reward drivers for winning. And listen, I think it worked. That's the reason why Carl Edwards lost the chase last year. If he'd have won just one race during the chase, he'd have been the champion. But instead, he goes over during the chase, and I don't even think he won a race last season. No, he won one race last season, early in the season. But so that's the way the point standings go. If you can get in on your bonus by the wins, if you get inside that top 20, and I got to disagree with you guys. I don't think Jeff Gordon's making the chase.
It wouldn't shock me at all. We talked about it earlier today on the show. He's had a lot of bad juju, but if he can turn that around and he can start nailing off some respectable finishes, some top 5s, top 10s, he'll be there. I'll tell you what, though, the guys I would definitely be paying attention to: Ryan Newman, Paul Menard, Jeff Burton. I think they could be there at the end. The one guy I don't think you guys could disagree with me on this. The one guy that's impressed me the most so far, he's been consistent and he's been there every single week, Greg Biffle.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought Greg Biffle could win a championship?
The thing with Greg Biffle is he's not making a big splash, but he's doing what needs to be done, and you're staying consistent.
Consistency will get you there every time. You could win all the races in the world, but if you got 10 races, but you got 20 DNFs, them 10 races ain't going to be worth anything.
Well, just talk to Kyle Busch about that. He's won probably the most races out of everybody in the past 5 years, and he still can't get the job done. He hardly finishes in the top 5 in the chase. He's sneaking up there, and this year he's being pretty consistent. Last week he had a mess up. Oh, who cares? It's over. But, I'm saying Kyle Busch is going to be up there. Jimmy Johnson, of course, is going to still be in it. But Paul Menard was really surprising earlier this season. I'm sad to see he's back in 15th, but I wouldn't be too shocked if he makes it in there, but Casey Kane, he's going to be one of those guys that finishes outside the top 10 that has that one win, and he'll have 2 more. He'll be one that gets in there. Then by chase time, like we saw last year, he could win 3 races and be in the top 3. So I like the new idea.
I respect your idea of Casey Kane possibly sneaking into the chase, but I think with that being said, I think Casey Kane is going to be that one individual that's going to be just one spot out of making the chase.
I don't think so. I mean, as fast as his car has been the last 3 weeks, him and Jeff Gordon have been pretty much identically fast. They've had fast cars, but Casey Kane, for some reason, is able to get top 5 finishes. I mean, the guy is on a streak, 7 straight top 5 finishes. Not 7 top 5 finishes this season, 7 straight top 5s, and he's still only up into 14th, which I think is what spells bad news for Jeff Gordon. But I think Casey Kane is going to get in. I mean, we've still got 13 races to go, and he's got to make himself 5 positions. I think he's going to do it with as fast as his car is. So I think Casey Kane's going to get in on points. I think it's going to fall back on someone like, to be honest with you, I don't think Tony's going to finish in the top 10. I think he's going to have to get in on bonuses. If you've looked at his cars the last 3-4 weeks, they haven't been bad. It's been disrespectful how bad they've been. I mean, he qualified 29th. This is a championship caliber organization. He qualifies 29th, and because of that, he gets caught up in a wreck. He had a horrible car at Charlotte. He's had a horrible car at Darlington. The super speedways have just gone away from that organization, and he's got to get his stuff back together. I don't think he's going to finish in the top 10. I think he's going to need that bonus, which he's got. He's got 2 wins, so I think he's going to make the chase. On the path he's on right now, they've got a lot of turning around to do. Not a 180. They got to do like a 720 to get that organization going again.
Well, he might just be testing right now. I mean, he's sitting there going, if I can just keep running consistent, I'm sitting in 8th of points right now. He might just be testing and saying, hey, by the end of the season, like last year, he really wasn't amazing at the beginning of the season. The second half of the season, it was like the Tony Stewart show, and he might be just doing that again this year. You never know about some of these guys.
And that's a very good point. I neglected to think of that. A lot of these drivers, when they know that they're going to, organizations know that they're going to a track that they're going to be at later in the chase, they'll try some different things to see what happens. Maybe it'll work out for them, and they'll find something.
Last year's chase was the Tony Stewart show. I mean,
yeah. So there's drivers that Juan Pablo Montoya. I'm kind of surprised he's sitting 20th. That organization is going to have to make some changes at the end of the season. You cannot continue to maintain as an organization and have as bad a runs as the 42 and the 1 have had over the last couple of years.
I think the only reason why Juan Pablo is ranked 20th is I think NASCAR gave him 150 sympathy points for hitting a jet dryer.
You're just pulling out all the old ones today, aren't you?
I'm telling you.
So that's your drivers for the top, the chase right now. And there's drivers farther back. Your top 35 in points, there's not really a big push for the top 35 to stay in the automatic qualifiers. Right now, sitting 35th is David Stremme, and he's got himself a nice little lead. He's 70 points. 13 points to the positive. So he's got roughly a race or 2.
Here's a developing story, I think. Look at number 2, Matt Kenseth. Crown Royal drops Matt Kenseth, and Matt Kenseth is in shape to possibly win a championship.
He hasn't been out of the top 5 all season.
No.
And yet he's still having sponsorship issues.
So somebody at Crown Royal said, okay, we're not going to stay with Matt Kenseth. We're going to drop Matt Kenseth for whatever reason they want to discuss, but all of a sudden Matt Kenseth wins a championship. You got to be eating crow at that point.
They didn't do anything based on Matt Kenseth. I think they did it because of budget cuts. They pulled their money out of NASCAR. They're not sitting on any other cars, and they're still with the 17 team in that organization, but they're not as prevalent. Let's wrap up turn 4 because we're running out of time for the show.
Predictions?
And it's the green-white checkered. Next week, we're going to be breaking down the Quicken Loans 400 at Michigan International Raceway, and we're going to be talking with Jack Dover, driver of the number 53 ASCS Sprint car.
Sponsored by Home Pride Companies.
The gas man himself is going to be joining us in studio.
He's going to give some speed tips to Andrew.
He can give speed tips to a lot of drivers. That guy is fast. Before we get to all of that, let's do some predictions for Pocono Raceway. What do you guys think about this weekend? Who's going to win it, Andrew?
Since I seem to always get to go first, I like to hear what always Bud has to say, but I'm going to go with Casey Kane. Casey Kane's going to get the job done this week. If not, he's going to finish 3rd.
I'm actually going to take somebody I have not picked all week. Third.
First or 3rd, no second.
First or 3rd.
That's a for sure prediction.
Hey, and remember, we cannot pick Jimmy Johnson. I'm going to take Matt Kenseth.
That's a good pick. I'm going to take Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's been good at Pocono, and I think with the crew chief change, he's going to get his confidence back. He's got his confidence back, actually, and I think he's going to rebound and do some great things at Pocono.
With Kenseth eyeing that first place in points, I think they're really going to be out to make a statement this weekend today here at Pocono, and I think they're going to be tough.
Thank you so much to Lainey Schwartz, driver the number 18 Sport Mod out of I-80 Speedway. You can Facebook her, Laini, and I'm not even going to try to spell her last name, but search for Lainey Schwartz, become a fan of her, and she'll keep you up to date with wherever she's racing. Friday night, she's at I-80. Saturday night, she's at Eagle, and great little interview. She's a great girl, and wish her the best of luck with her season.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Oh, my God. That does it for the front stretch. Thank you so much for joining us, and a special thanks to our new friends who are out at West Point, Nebraska.
West Point, yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out. Tony Peterson gave me a call this week saying he likes to listen to me. A few other people out there do. That's pretty cool to hear us out in Omaha and people in West Point are listening to us.
We've got a huge signal here at AM 590, and we certainly love it.
We appreciate it, Tony.
We're at Denison every Friday night, and we get people who talk to us about how they enjoy the show. So I don't know exactly what they're drinking on Sunday mornings that they're liking the show, but keep drinking it. Keep on drinking it. Yep. In fact, spread it to everybody else. We need all the fans we can get. But thank you to everybody who joins us. We really appreciate it. If you ever want to get a hold of us, you can always become a fan of us on the Facebook page. It's The Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting. You can email us, thefrontstretch590@gmail.com. And that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks for getting up, and we appreciate you joining us for the show. This is The Front Stretch, and we'll see you at the track.
See ya.